Good evening, everybody. How are we all doing? Thank you for spending your deep Friday evening with us on the Region Sports Network. Mike Dewan alongside me is my longtime RFW partner, Jay Simmons. We are here for the Region Football Wrap-Up Show, live from Athletic Performance Factory. It's all quiet now for some reason. Come on, guys. Let's get loud. Come on. There it is. Week 4 is officially just about in the books. Again, a lot of RSN personnel here. Plenty of people to thank, but I'm with Jay Simmons first. We'll be joined by Matt Skura here a little bit later, my guy with on the RSN zone, going throughout the game. So we want to get Jay Simmons in here first. Jay, first off, week 4 in the books, and you especially were the color guy at Lake Central and Crown Point. But Jay, once again, we went through this slate last night. A lot of great games. Another one in the books.
Yeah, and a few shocks here and there, and a few not so big surprises like the Lake Central score, but we'll get to those here in a second.
Yeah, I guess we'll start with the game that you were at. So for the crew at Lake Central, first off, I want to give a shout out to, of course, you on the color, Nick Russ, who's here at APF as well as the producer, Paul Vela, who was our camera guy there as well, and then of course, the always fantastic play-by-play guy, Leo Stodiker, doing a great job. But Jay, the final score in that one of our 4 games on the Region Sports Network, which is why we got plenty of people to thank. But Jay, the game that you were at the Burial Grounds, Crown Point got the best of Lake Central in this one, 42-0. But Jay, you mentioned we'll start with the home team. This was a score that was not very. It didn't really paint the full picture of how at least the home team played in this one.
No, and I think the score just doesn't indicate how well Lake Central played. I mean, there's a few special team mistakes that really cost them a lot early on, especially. Coach Koulianos trying to play it close to the vest in that first series. They get the ball to midfield. The offense is looking good. 4th down and 4 at midfield. He decides, you know what, hey, we're going to play it conservative. We're going to punt. And then we're getting heckled here in the crowd. He decides to punt, and he's figuring, all right, I'm going to trap these guys deep in their own end, right? Yep. Well, Venical, or not Venical, trying to think who was it, Griffin...
Van Tichel?
Van Tichel, yeah. He catches the ball at the 10-yard line. They're thinking, all right, we got him surrounded, makes a couple head fakes, pops it for 90 yards, and boom. Now, as he's running it, I can see Coach Koulianos scratching his head going, why didn't I go for it on 4th down? Why didn't I go for it on 4th down? Special teams mistakes. Then the next time they kick off, Crown Point kicks off, they fumble the kickoff return, they get the ball on the 10-yard line. They punt. Yeah. A couple plays later, Crown Point gets the ball on the 36-yard line. All right, you can't spot a team that good 14 points out of the get-go right like that. And the mistakes, special teams-wise, continued. Another kickoff, another bobbled kickoff return, boom. Next thing you know, Crown Point's up 21-0. Then all of a sudden the defense for Lake Central settles in, plays well, causes a fumble at the 10-yard line in the red zone for Crown Point. So I think the score is not indicative of how well, at least defensively, how well Crown Point played.
Alongside
Lake Central.
Yeah, played. And alongside myself, co-host Matt Skura, we all kind of went over how special teams was a big thing kind of in this week's of games, and we saw the same thing at Lake Central as well. Field position was kind of a big thing, and if we're looking at kind of what Crown Point did, it was kind of, although the 42-0 running clock score, it wasn't like they threw a bunch of punches and got out to them quick. It was kind of more of a death by 1,000 paper cuts, if you will.
About it?
And I mean, it shows kind of, again, this team is for real, Jay. I mean, another chapter in the 2025 season of this Crown Point team. Punch in and punch out. They take care of business. What do you like from this squad from here tonight, though?
Well, I think it's just a diversity of offense that they have. They have 2 quarterbacks running in and out of. There's 4 different guys that took snaps tonight for Crown Point. Now, I think, that's a prop bet in the Super Bowl. Think about it. 4 different guys took snaps. You got your 2 quarterbacks, Gibbs, and then there was one other guy that took snaps in the Wildcats. So they had 4 different guys take snaps tonight.
And I saw a lot that was said from Coach Craig Bouzy after that Maryville one that they want to try and really give you so many different looks defensively. I mean, this Crown Point team, again, there's no doubt about it. You have to replace a Gatorade, Mr. Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Indiana, Noah Ehrlich. You have to replace an All-State running back in Larry Ellison. Ball State player in Lucas Szymborski. You have to replace a lot of pieces. And from what we saw from Crown Point, I mean, they use a lot of, obviously, they got athletes, of course.
Yes, they do.
But more so, we can start with those 2 quarterbacks, Mulaski and Custy. What do you like from the both of them, and what threats do they impose on opposing defenses?
The thing is, they're both seem very adequate in terms of passing, and in both in terms of calling the offense, making sure everybody's in the right spot when the play is snapped. But both of them seem equal, and it's just one of those things where somewhere down the line, you're going to have to. I think you're at some point in time you're going to have to pick one. But they both seem super equal. They're both great passers. Mulaski threw a couple great passes to Caden Smith, had one for 30 yards, and then boom, threw a nice little fade pass that Smith was able to adjust to in the corner of the end zone and came up with the catch. And he was our Proud Lantern Man superhero of the game. He also had a 76-yard reverse for a touchdown, and boy, just once he gets into that open field, he accelerates. So that's something explosive for Crown Point, not only with the Grinders and Gibbs in the backfield, him running some wildcat. Boy, I'll tell you what, if I'm a defensive coach, I don't want to start breaking this game film down because you've got guys running crisscrossing all over, some traps here and there, and then some power football. I mean, they've got it all.
And it seems like players every week, it's a new guy every single week. Like last week was Max Gurnick, a sophomore running back who led the team in rushing and scored a couple times. And this week it was Smith who wins, the MVP of the game, the superhero of the game. And they just have so many weapons at their disposal. And it's tough to, again, bet against this Crown Point team in any given night.
Yeah, and the thing is that you look at the diversity of offense, they can run the ball just as well as they can pass it. And then all of a sudden you got the defense that lines up in that 3-5 defense. They had guys blitzing all over, confusing Lake Central every way possible. Lake Central, to their credit, actually had a great drive. They started about their 30-yard line in the middle of the third quarter, and they took the ball the length in the field. And I looked at Leo and I go, boy, Lake Central's doing a great job on this drive. Let's see if they can finish it off without making any mistakes. Okay, I jinxed them right there. The next play, they had an ineligible man downfield, a flag, and then they went backwards from the 25-yard line, ended up going for it on 4th and 10 and didn't get it. And Katie barred the door once you give Crown Point another mistake.
Yeah, right. And before I let you go, Jay, we'll close the book on that one. Again, Crown Point got the win 42-0 in that one at the Burial Grounds. But, Jay, of course, you guys watching, you guys can catch us on Region Football Weekly on Thursday evenings. But, Jay, what's a segment with you here on the wrap-up show without talking about the top 10? Looking at those teams that won, number 1 got the win, number 2, number 3, number 4. A game that we'll talk about a little bit later on the wrap-up show. The number 5 Valparaiso Vikings lost to the 7th-ranked Michigan City Wolves. Number 9 team lost. The Morton Governors lost to Byron Central. Wheeler got a big-time win, and Lowell got a big win over there, and Griffith also responded. Any initial thoughts on the top 10, maybe looking for next week? A little bit, that top 4 might, those guys got the job done. Then, of course, that latter half, always things get a little shaky.
Well, I think you're going to, it's going to be a shakeup between Michigan City and Valparaiso. Also in the Dublin Conference, now all of a sudden you got Michigan City creeping up towards that top tier.
Right.
Maybe they can make some noise as the season goes on. So, kudos to Michigan City. Let's see if they can make some noise against the 2 dogs that have been running this show for a while, Crown Point and Maryville. See what kind of competition they can put up against those teams.
I guess we'll have to wait and find out. For you guys watching, once again, Thursday evening, 6 p.m., Jay and I break it all down for Region Football Weekly. Jay, thank you for everything tonight. We'll have Matt circle back up here next. We're all breaking down all the games on the Region Football Wrap-Up Show on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
Hi, my name is Mark Machnick. I'm the owner of Mark Machnick CPA firm in Highland, Indiana on Kennedy Avenue. I've been working with Region Sports for years now. Started working with Chris years ago, just on some special projects, advertising here and there. After a while, kind of increased the advertising. Mainly was doing it for the community involvement. It's such a great network and program they do with the high school sports. But as time went by, I started getting on there more frequently. And then the phone starts ringing. And I was getting calls all the time from people. Hey, I saw your ad on so-and-so football game. I saw your ad on a basketball game. And it's really helped my business. It's increased the volume. We're a tight community in Northwest Indiana, sports-wise, and just a lot of community involvement. So that's mainly why I got into it. Yeah, I remember watching one game. It was a basketball game, and I think there was a little bit of an altercation And as the altercation was happening, my ad was right on the bottom, and someone typed in, "I wonder what Mark Machnick's thinking right now." And I was thinking, wow, this is awesome. It's really been a great feature for my business. It's the only advertising I do. I don't advertise anywhere else other than Region Sports. You know, it's for the business, but mainly for the involvement with the community. I played high school baseball here in Highland, and ever since I've been advertising on Region Sports, a lot of my old coaches are now my clients. A lot of my old teammates come in here. My recommendation, if you're a business here in Northwest Indiana, I think Region Sports is, for your money, it's one of the best places that you can advertise. I mean, I can advertise on billboards. I could do anywhere I want to. And I choose Region Sports mainly because I get a lot of feedback, you know, especially on the high school level. A lot of the parents, if they can't make a game, they're watching it online. They're watching a replay, the grandparents. So it's done wonders for my business, and it's my go-to for advertising. It's the only spot I would advertise. So if you're a business owner in the area, really look into advertising on Region Sports. It's going to be well worth your money, and you'll make tenfold on what you're spending. Region Sports Network, they're the only game in town, but they're more than just a game.
Back here live at the Athletic Performance Factory for the Region Football Wrap-Up Show. Mike Dewan now joined by my co-host of the evening, Matt Circa. Matt, good to have you back. You and I broke it down all for RS End Zone. Now we're back here kind of wrapping through some games. But first off, we have something very special going on here at the Athletic Performance Factory early next month. Calling all wrestlers out there as well. We know these sports kind of tend to overlap, but we have a big event going on here October 5th. That is a Sunday. No, the Bears are not playing, so do not worry about that. It is the preseason pinfall party, as you see our flyer popping up there. Feel free to take a screenshot, read all the information. But for those that were familiar with some things we did in the past with maybe a big football show, kind of welcoming all the teams, introducing the players and coaches, we're doing that, but with wrestling here at the Athletic Performance Factory. Again, that is October 5th. We'll have 2 sessions, 12 to 3 and 4 to 7. Again, the Athletic Performance Factory, the preseason pinfall party. So coaches, check your emails. We already sent a couple out, and wrestlers, feel free to come on by. We'll have that all on a live stream. And just a fun time, of course. And before you know it, wrestling season right around the corner. But we got some football to talk about. But going to be a fun time here come October 5th for the preseason pinfall party. But Matt, we'll take it from the top. The 4th-rated Andrean 59ers escaped the close one against Munster. Andrean now improves to 3-1 on the year with a 21-7 victory over Munster. Munster playing some better football, but Andrean now one of those few teams undefeated in the NCC once again.
Yeah, it looks like Munster's defense is pretty tough. Andrean only scored 21 points. You know, you don't know what happened, if there was
injuries,
penalties, right, whatever. But looks like Munster's got the defense pretty much in mid-season form. They just need to get the offense scoring going.
Yeah, second year under Ramos in St. Louis over there. Andrean, again, punch in, punch out. Now 3-1. Again, one of those few undefeated teams in the NCC. So kudos once again to Chris Skinner for getting the job done in a tough place to play in Munster. A basketball score happened between the Battle of the Birds, 62-34. And I'll tell you what would you being a former Griffith DB, I can't imagine what the weekend looks like in terms of film and maybe the whole week. What are you working on?
That was a track meet right there. Not a whole lot of defense going on there. So it's, either somebody's running a lot or
could be an accountability thing. Could be the whole team, right?
Yeah.
The whole unit. But East Chicago gets a win there, a traveling trophy over there for the Battle of the Birds, and East Chicago Central gets the job done at home no matter what the score was, but 62-34. The over, take that in that game, that's for sure. Calumet and Highland played this evening, a back-and-forth game, and you spoke highly of Ben Geffert, the former Griffith guy, alum, and of course, head coach of the Griffith program, and a signature win here, I would say, against the Calumet Warriors, a back-and-forth game, 7-0 at half. Calumet regained the lead, and then Highland stole this one, 31-30. Your thoughts on this one? Highland just getting a big win, I guess, more so for, again, Ben Geffert now improving to 2-2.
Yeah. They definitely looks like Highland's starting to get things going. Mm-hmm. Offensively, giving up 30 points on defense is kind of tough, but all you need to do is win.
And more
You know?
so, again, a good out-of-conference victory. Again, you take on a Calumet team that's undefeated, and Highland, after dropping that conference opener to Hanover Central, from at this point where you're entering the second third of the season, I mean, you really want to try and build up some sort of confidence
Yeah,
as
definitely,
well in
definitely
these
a big
high-stakes
confidence
games.
builder there. Come from behind victory. So you gotta credit the kids for that, for not giving up and fighting the whole way.
The Whiting Oilers get their second consecutive win, their second under interim head coach Thomas Knight get the win 39-0 at Jeff Kane Stadium, newly named Jeff Kane Stadium. Jay and I talked about the Crown Point Bulldogs get to now number 31 in terms of consecutive regular season victories, and 20, I believe 23. I'm starting to lose count already. That number's starting to get high. 23 in the Duneland, 42-0 in favor of the Bulldogs. From what we saw, that offense is tricky. I mean, a lot of reverses, a lot of misdirection, and a lot of guys just stepping up once again. Jay, kind of hit it on the head, and I could ask you kind of your opinions, but they give you a lot of different looks if you're an opposing defense, and that's why, again, they showed it here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. They seem to, watching them throughout the last few years and stuff like that, it's not the same thing every week.
Mm-hmm.
Last week against Maryville, it was a running game that dominated. Today, they passed a lot better and completed those passes,
Mm-hmm.
had some big plays. You didn't see that reverse that they ran and scored on against Maryville, but
Mm-hmm.
you saw it this week. You may not see that for another few weeks. And then, the coaches break it down great over there and determine what they can run best against that opponent that week, and that's what they go with.
Yeah, that offensive line, although some new faces, Nolan Cicero leads it up front, the Ball State commit. They got some cats up there, and they especially could really run the football and did it again. Once again tonight, Crown Point moving out of 4-0 and undefeated in their conference. The Griffith Panthers shut out the Boone Grove Wolves 49-0. Talk about a confidence booster there. Griffith now kind of a fresh slate, after last week's loss to Lowell. They are really trying to gun for the outright conference title. Talking with them over the course of the summer after that disappointing loss to Wheeler in Week 9 last year, this team gets it off on the right foot against a Boone Grove team that's still rebuilding, but Griffith, I mean, they really want to start getting back to those ways of what we saw in Weeks 1 and 2.
Right. Yeah, they definitely have Wheeler circled on the calendar. You can't have any letdowns, so you got to focus week to week and take it one game at a time and build up to that Wheeler game, and then hopefully you can prevail and come back.
What is the challenge? Because you were on some great Griffith teams, some great Griffith programs. How tough is that challenge to not look ahead to a team on the schedule that can, it's a big game and it could mean a lot more, especially with, against Wheeler in Week 9.
Yeah, it is tough, especially when it's a late season game.
Yeah.
It's a blooming rivalry. I mean, Wheeler doesn't have a long tradition of football, but I mean, it's a successful program.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't look past. You gotta, Coach Mason's gonna have them focused on week to week to accomplish your goals each week.
That is definitely one thing. He'll get them ready. He's been there before for sure. A team that is now 4-0 are the Hobart Brickies, also 2-0 in the NCC. They got the win 40-7 over the KV Cougars, and Hobart putting up points at will. This is a team that is gunning for the top spot and get back to winning some trophies. It seemed like that's been kind of something that's been elusive with Hobart, again, with New Prairie lingering in that section on. Yeah, although they get some conference trophies, the standard at Hobart, and you would know, again, being kind of from a similar standard, is that postseason success is something we have to see, and it's been kind of elusive for quite some time with this team so far. Just looking at kind of some scores and the play, I mean, looking at future box scores coming up here, they got a roster and a coach, especially Eric Schreiber Jr., really turning the corner and get back to that winning standard.
Yeah, I think he's got them where he wants them to be right now. They look like they're in mid-season form, and you're in week 4, but they look like they're ready for the playoffs now.
And the NCC is especially fun because a lot of those top teams really play each other late. I believe Hobart, historically, they take on Lowell in the last week, which who knows? Again, the way Lowell's playing, they very well could be vouching for, at least a share of the NCC title. They got Andrean in probably a couple weeks as well. That race is going to be a photo finish, to say the least. One more game before we take a break. Our second of 2 games on, or second of 4, but second, you know what I mean. Going on the Region Sports Network. The host, Chesterton Trojans, took care of business against the LaPorte Slicers, 34-14. If you want to take a look at that replay, it is on all of our socials. Big shout out to our crew on site tonight: Michael Bradner, Chris Fig, Joe Heinrich, and Thomas Marsh doing a great job. This game was, from what we kind of saw in RSN, there were a lot of turnovers, a lot of sudden change, and some spots that could be cleaned up here and there, but we'll start with Chesterton. I really like the play, and you and I were kind of talking about Hunter Boyd looked a lot more poised, and he's just one of those players. When you're that young, you are only getting better as the season goes on. I think he showed a couple more steps tonight.
Yeah, he did. That they finally got the offense rolling, scored some points. Just watching the game and everything, it looked like the run game is getting there. They're starting to bust through the line and get some bigger gains, but that'll only help the passing game.
And for LaPorte, looking in this one, Chesterton had 2 defensive touchdowns. Take away even one of those, and the score of this game looks different. For LaPorte, it's a lot riding high after that Week 1 win against New Prairie, and then again 3 straight losses. How do you try and rebound? Because that Week 1 game, again, although it's always pretty played close, Week 1 there's 2 things. It's the most you're going to prep for a team all year, and it's the healthiest your team's going to be all year. I don't know much about the second point and where they are now in terms of health, but game 1 is a lot different than game 2, and kind of what we've seen from these previous LaPorte teams. They could maybe win game 1 and they kind of fall flat, but to kind of rebound, I guess, going forward, what tips maybe would you have for the LaPorte, keeping morale high and trying to get back to maybe the hype and kind of the I guess just mindset where they were Week 1.
Yeah, looking at last year's team compared to this year's team, they're still in the same boat where they're losing games, but they're not bad losses. They're not horrible losses. You're not getting blown out. You're competitive in the games, and that's what they want to be. Mm-hmm. They want to get to the point now where, yes, we're competitive now. Now we want to get that, sneak in that win, get that signature win, and then things will start falling into place.
They're hoping to really get back on track. They take on Lake Central next week. I believe that game is at LaPorte as well, so that could be a potential game, and maybe a get-back game for the Slicers. One piece that I really like of the puzzle of theirs is Reed Raymond. Had another fantastic game. Only a junior, 2-way player as well. A special spot in my heart for those players, playing both sides of the ball, especially at the Duneland level, and doing it like he does, the junior Reed Raymond. Big shout out to him. But Chesterton gets the win. They move to 2-2, 34-14. We got plenty more. We'll have one more segment, a few more games on the Region Football Wrap-Up Show on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town.
At Strachan Van Til, we believe grocery shopping should be simple. Now, shopping is easier than ever with our new and improved website. Find what you need fast. Browse your favorite products, add them to your cart, and check out in just a few quick steps. Choose between convenient in-store pickup or let us handle the heavy lifting. From our shelves to your doorstep. Skip the lines, shop your way, and spend more time on what matters most. With our rewards program, enjoy incredible savings and personalized offers every time you shop. Shop online now at strachanvantil.com or download our app today.
Hi, I'm Crowd Company's Lantern Man. If you're a contractor, it's my job to make your insurance coverage simple and affordable. Because I know time is money, I'll come to your business. Certificates and bonds are a snap. Wherever you are, whatever business you're in, we've got you covered. As Crowd Company's Lantern Man, I'm your insurance superhero.
Crowd Company's insurance professionals. Highland, Merrillville, and Michigan City.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
From lighting up Friday Night Football to powering the classrooms that shape the students of Lake County, IBEW Local 697 is proud to support our region's schools and the communities we call home. A career as a union electrician could be your next great move. Your next cap might be a hard hat. IBEW Local 697, powering futures, powering the region.
Four Seasons Mechanical proudly serves Northwest Indiana, providing quality, reasonably priced, reliable service. With a quality and comfort guarantee, the professionals at Four Seasons Mechanical offer a wide range of services in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Whether it's residential or commercial, Four Seasons Mechanical is there 24/7. To find out more, the website is fourseasonsmechanical.com or give them a call at 219-756-7020. Four Seasons Mechanical, your indoor air quality specialists.
Back here, Athletic Performance Factory Region Football Wrap-Up Show. Matt Circa, Mike Dewan, Justin Cole, Zach Miller, Aaron Svetlin, all still at Athletic Performance Factory here in the late hours of the evening. Thank you all for joining us whenever you're spending your Friday night evening. And we're recapping and shutting the book on Week 4 here on this Friday night. Alongside us, you see us on your TV screen. We have the Hometown Scoreboard running all night. The finals going on, presented by Strachan Van Til Food Market, and that'll be running all throughout the night, as well as we'll have a scoreboard going on tomorrow with all the updated finals now officially. That'll be found on Facebook, YouTube, our website, and Instagram too as well. But we got some more games, Matt. Let's get into it. Another NCC game. Lowell moves to 2-0 in the NCC, 3-1 overall with a 35-20 win over the Hanover Central Wildcats. Talked about it before. I mean, this Lowell team is starting to put up points, which is also a big thing. I mean, how much they kind of we've seen a little bit more in the passing game from them with Brody Kowinski really growing under center. But this is a team that is starting to kind of be like these teams in Lowell's past, where they're just going to win those games no matter how they could do it. And if that's on the back of a good defense, on a good rushing attack or whatnot, but when they do it once again. They beat a Hanover Central team. This was their conference for her. I mean, really, these past 2 seasons. Kudos to Coach Casey McKimmon, the Lowell Red Devils.
Yeah, he's really accomplished a lot in a short time right now, and if Lowell can keep rolling and mix that passing with the run, they're gonna be a dangerous team in the NCC and in the playoffs.
So who do you like now that we're kind of wrapping up on the top NCC teams? We talked about Hobart a little bit. They're led by, they got a quarterback coming back, Alex Tatum, a junior, who played very well as a sophomore and already following suit in his junior season, along with a smattering of other pieces. Andran, they're Andran. They are very youthful and very solid in the 2A class. And now you have Lowell that kind of enters their name in the chat. Do you have any predictions and maybe how this race will? I mean, we very well could see another 3-way tie like we did last year.
Right. I mean, right now you're looking at the front runners are probably Hobart and Lowell. I mean, Andran's only loss is to Maryville.
Mm-hmm.
And Maryville's one of the elite teams in the area. But just offensive outputs, you're looking at it, and Hobart and Lowell are putting up the points.
Andran, definitely very interesting to see a little bit more about how that game kind of transpired, because Munster played, Lake Central well. They're in a better spot than they were, again, in the year 1 of Ramos and St. Louis. Andran hoping to respond, but could never count any of these teams out. And I'm sure they'll take what you just said as bulletin board material. So I guess that's
right. The old saying goes, defense wins championships.
True.
So we'll find out here in the coming weeks.
And I'll tell you what, no matter what happens in conference, I bet talking about Andran, let's say whatever a game gets lost, they lose out in the conference title. I'll tell you what. Yes, it matters, but when the 2A rolls around, they're like, okay, let's stick it to those 4A teams and let's book our ticket to Circle City. So I guess only time will tell, but we still got plenty more.
Yeah, and I guarantee you in the Andran locker room, winning the NCC Conference Championship is a big deal, but it's a side note in what their ultimate goal is.
That's right, and that's taking a trip to the Circle City. Hard to believe we're going to be in Week 5 next week. That'll mark the eighth third of the season. Hard to believe. It's flying by quick, as the old adage goes, but we're here all for it. A top 10 matchup on the Region Sports Network live from Valparaiso High School was a 7v5 match between the visiting Michigan City Wolves and the 5th-ranked host Valpo Vikings. First, I want to give a couple shout-outs to our crew on site tonight. Doug Nelson was our color guy. Andrew Mile back in action for play-by-play. Zach Sinelli doing a fantastic job as he's done all year at the production role. And Martin Murillo Jr. making the trip up from Rensselaer to come up here and shoot with us. A lot of respect with all those guys, as well as everybody on the Region Sports family. But more so, they called and they shot and they produced a fantastic game, 27-21 in favor of the Michigan City Wolves. They win a 1-score game. Believe it or not, Trinity Hart played fantastic, had a big-time connection Zaire McKinney, who was kind of not the dagger, but ended up being the deciding factor in this one. Also had a rushing touchdown. Daquan Fields scored as well. Matt, I mean, this was one we really kept our eye on, just about down to the final wire. A game with a couple turnovers, a couple pendulum swings, but Michigan City, they showed a lot of moxie and a lot of poise, and something that if this game was played last year, they might have been on the other side of the coin.
Right. Yeah. It was a game of who made the least mistakes,
Yeah.
penalties or turnovers. I'm excited to see them play in the playoffs.
I believe Michigan City, I think they have Maryville next week. That might be at Ames Field. Yep, that is awesome. I mean, looking at that game,
Yeah. I mean, that could be for, definitely second place in conference, if not
right.
for a championship, if whoever wins that one.
And I know they historically have Crown Point, I think, the last week of the season. So Michigan City, obviously, if things go well these next few weeks, they might be playing that game for an outright championship. Got to take care of some business first. But for Valparaiso, now dropped to a 1-3 record. From what we saw from them tonight, at least kind of my analysis, a couple costly turnovers, and again, just Michigan City really capitalizing on some of those short fields, while Valparaiso not so much.
Yeah, I think if Valpo can get the run game going a
Yeah.
little bit more, they're going to be a very dangerous team.
It's been tough sledding for Gage Finley in that offensive front, especially in that backfield. And yeah, I mean you could rely a lot on Kellen Hosek, but maybe not that much, especially against a tough defense like Michigan City. And Valparaiso still has some tough opponents coming up in Crown Point. They still have yet to play Maryville. I think LC is always kind of a trap game. It seems like they play each other close, so they got to gear up, because this is a Valpo team that the standard is always winning. And they especially want to take care of a business in their sectional, which, I mean, that's a wide open sectional. They got to still play Chesterton too, who they may see in that sectional. So, and same as Michigan City. So who knows what could happen? This game, it's a long way from October and November. So only time will tell. But a good one on the Region Sports Network. Again, we had that live with video, so feel free to check that out on our stuff. Moving up, the 9th-ranked Morton Governors dropped to 1 to Byron Central. A tough team up there in Michigan, taking that trip up there. Tough for Morton to kind of rebound from that, but still a much competitive game than what we saw last year. Matt, we'll pump the brakes on this one. The Portage Indians took on the Maryville Pirates, and although this was kind of all Maryville, good to see Portage kind of get a little bit more on the scoreboard. 23-44 was the final score. We talked about at least getting some moral victories. It's really tough sledding for Portage. A sticky situation with a lot of new faces, and a couple guys that have been with the program, but help is definitely wanted. And good to see them put up a fight with Maryville, a hungry team in this one.
Right. It's great to see great to see Portage put up 23 points, regardless of the situation in the game. They put up 23 points.
Yeah.
Good building blocks for the weeks to come.
And Portage, I mean, again, you look at your schedule and you're looking up. You got Crown Point next week. You're at home, which is nice. You take on a team that has, won plenty. But
yeah, traditionally
keep morale high.
Yeah, traditionally though, Portage has always played Crown Point tough.
Mm-hmm.
Last year in the playoffs, they stuck it to them early on, and Crown Point eventually won, but they'll put up a fight.
And now Maryville's got to gear up for a potential top 5 matchup. I think we can go on and say that at Ames Field against Michigan City next week. That's going to be one to look out for. Especially, I'm interested to see. I mean, that Michigan City offense, going back to our previous game we mentioned, I mean, they're kind of a wild card in terms of they could really gash you and run the football. They can also throw it with Treniston Hart and Zaire McKinney out wide. Initial thoughts on that game at Ames Field, which is, that place is just about second to none in terms of watching a football game.
Oh yeah, definitely. It should be a packed crowd there, and both teams are very similar. Both teams got a lot of team speed.
Yeah.
Good quarterback that can throw the ball around the field. Good running game. So whoever executes.
I don't think Michigan City could kind of make. I'd say if they want to walk away with the win,
yeah,
they got to limit those mistakes. We kind of saw it tonight. Some penalties, some costly penalties, as well as some turnovers that Valparaiso ultimately brought them back in the game. Moving, we've got 3 games left. The West Central Trojans beat the Lake Station Eagles, undefeated no more. 54-14 was the final score. The River Forest Ingots also took down an undefeated team, 37-20. River Forest, a big win there against a team that was on our bubble in the West Side Cougars. And finally, the 6th-ranked Wheeler Bearcats, who keep pouring it on, 52-0. I mean, this is, I guess I'll ask you your opinion on this. Wheeler has, cruised to a 4-0 record. And looking at, their previous opponents, Bishop Knoll, maybe a rebounding, kind of program. Kankakee Valley, they're currently still also rebuilding, win this so far in this early stage of the season. They opened up with South Central. That used to be Hanover Central. in their schedule. And then Wheeler, I think they had River Forest last week, who they also skunked. How do you stay? I guess my question for you is, I don't know if they've gotten punched in the mouth yet. And everyone kind of has a plan going into a fight or whatever until you get punched in the mouth.
Right.
Wheeler, how do you, I guess, learn to, if that day ever comes, which with their future schedule, it probably will. But I mean, it's like, oh, okay, now we're trailing in the scoreboard. Hey, now we have a tough 3rd and long we got to convert. How do you, again, build yourself up for something that hasn't quite happened in these first 4 weeks?
Well, for them, they just got to keep their foot on the gas pedal and keep going. And then when those situations come in games where they are winning big or whatever, they got to focus on those like big 3rd down play or something. Even though they're up 2-3 touchdowns, they still got to focus on that, executing each play as they come along.
And Nick Testa's got he's got a tight ship over there. He's doing a great job. And they, again, this was a team with a new look roster, some new look pieces. And so far, I think coming into this game, they outscored opponents 134-7. That number's only going up after a 52-0 slugging over Bishop Nolan. They're a team that I think will get better. Again, Rick Good on your sidelines. I think he's a perfect guy for the job. You could ask a couple guys here at Region Sports Network that'll probably say the same thing. But it's tough sledding right now for Bishop Nolan. That, hey, I mean, this was, again, you guys got to remember, this was a program that was not a program a few seasons ago. So although it might be tough now, they'll rebound here. I got to give a shout out. I almost forgot, to our Portage and Maryville 2-man crew. Riley Doyle was the producer, and Kevin Malater flew solo, did play-by-play, and color did a great job here under some unforeseen circumstances. He's the guy. He's a pro's pro, to say the least. Play-by-play and color. But hey, Matt, I think that'll just about do it for us. Your first Friday night with us in the books. Was it everything you wanted and more? What?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Thank you so much for coming along, for all of us here at Region Sports Network. First, again, I mentioned the guys on site. For our studio personnel tonight, Justin Cole producing everything. Zach Miller doing a great job of getting everything organized. Aaron Svetlin filling in, doing scoreboard for the first time. Did a fantastic job as well. Caleb Bernard helped out with our multi-view. That was the first time we started off with that. Am I forgetting anybody? I think that's just about all we got. Right, gentlemen? All good? All good. For our executive producer, Chris Ramirez, our operations manager, Rich Castillo, our sales manager, Heather Ames, for Zach Miller, also our coordinating producer, the aforementioned Zach Miller. I'm Mike Dewan for Matt Circa as well, Jay Simmons, who stepped in here. This has been the Region Football Wrap-Up Show, live from the Athletic Performance Factory on the Region Sports Network, the only game in town. Good night, everybody.
Old Man Winter is just around the corner, and that means temperatures will soon begin to drop. And a region winter is not the time to be left out in the cold. The professionals at Economy Electric Heating and Cooling can tune up that old furnace or install a new unit that can last for years. Your family deserves to stay comfortable this winter, and with 24/7 emergency service, comfort is just a phone call away. Economy Electric Heating and Cooling, 219-923-4441. Or for more info, the website is forajobdoneright.com.
Earn while you learn from the best hands in the business. The Bricklayers Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. That's right, this is a paid apprenticeship.
I'm getting an education while learning a trade and getting paid for it.
The thing that surprised me the most about this apprenticeship program is the respect I have received after the proper time and training.
Classes start soon, so apply now. There are training centers throughout Indiana and Kentucky. We are the Bricklayers and Allied Craftworkers for Indiana, Kentucky Apprenticeship. The best hands in the business.
Flip the switch, a light turns on. Press the button, machines and instruments come to life. Touch the screen, communicate with the world. Simple tasks, guaranteed results, every second of every day. That's the power of power. And that's the power brought to you by the NECA contractors and electrical workers of Local 531.
Calling all current and future homeowners in the Northwest Indiana area. Whether you're buying or selling, Brent Wright is here to make your real estate journey smooth and successful. With years of experience, personalized service, and a deep knowledge of the market, Brent will help you find the perfect place or get the best deal for your property. Call today at 219-406-7195 and take the first step toward your real estate goals. Contact Brent Wright, the right way to buy and sell real estate.
The Athletic Performance Factory is Northwest Indiana's premier athletic training center. The 40,000 square foot state-of-the-art facility features batting cages, a sand training room, a new outdoor turf infield, and so much more. Check out the facility for one of their daily classes at 3150 45th Street in Highland. Interested in signing up for team workouts or individual lessons? Check out their website at trainapf.com or contact them at 219-750-1087. Athletic Performance Factory, where athletes are made.
Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso is a leader in athletics apparel and equipment sales. With in-house production including screen printing, trophies, embroidery, and more, Blythe's can help you to create the perfect look. For more information, visit them online at teamblythes.com. Blythe's Team Sports in Valparaiso, where the athletes shop.